Toe. The fish, Gunjul Sumha. We give greetings and thanksgiving to all the fish, from the littlest fish to the biggest fish. The fish that clean all the waters and give us, our human beings, food.
Montgomery College got to celebrate Native American Heritage Month with two really special programs, thanks to a grant from the Smithsonian and also thanks to the Arts Institute of Montgomery College. The two programs are Taagi Three Sides Trio, and that features the first Native American classical trio with Stephen Alvarez on percussion. He is Mescalero Apache. And with Tara Louise Montour on violin, she is Mohawk, and with myself on cello, and I am Mohawk. And then, in addition, we have our two special guests collaborating. One is Janet Marie Rogers, Mohawk Tuscarora, who did the poetry and narration for the new pieces. And then Jan Longboat, a Mohawk elder from Six Nations territory, who actually is reciting our Thanksgiving address and explaining it to the audience. All the pieces are part of a classical Native movement in this country that is helping to not only dispel stereotypes about classical Native music, but also to invite audience participation and education to know that Native people are alive, well, and very creative. It's sort of been my dream child to put groups of Native artists together in a different variety. And I'm the composer for 4 new works that are part of this program.
I've never seen anything like this before, and this is fresh and wonderful and new, and I believe it really resonates with audiences because they know that it's based in something authentic and honest, and at the same time, the creativity does not suffer as a result.
What I've been honored and privileged to do over the years is to share the stories or the teachings that have been shared with me from the ancestors, or the old people as I call them, since I was a little girl. I've listened to their stories, I've listened to their teachings, and I've somehow tried to remember those so that I can now not only teach my family, my children, but to carry on the culture to what we call the 7 generations to come.
I was invited here to Montgomery College to share some pieces of writing that have been incorporated in classical music compositions. And so this is a collaboration I'm doing with Dawn Avery, who is the music instructor here at Montgomery College. And we've done this before. I've written some lyrics, and we've created some songs together.
The 4th piece is actually a Inuviac piece that's really about living in 2 worlds. And Janet Marie Rogers does a beautiful performance artwork that's also about being in 2 worlds. So that was sort of synchronistic how that worked together. And it is an issue that a lot of people face today, and I can only speak for the Native American living in both worlds aspect of that, but I think a lot of people will relate to that work. And that piece just recently got nominated for a Grammy, so on the album Tulpe, so that's exciting too, to have it premiered live here.
Many years ago, I guess now that I look back, my grandmother, my mother's mother, old Ginny Thomas, spent time with me to teach me about medicines and about that good way, the good mind, or a good way to live. And so I've put that into my life over the years. And so when I teach, it's more like showing them or experiential learning rather than just a lecture type of teaching. So most of what I do is experiential teaching from a cultural perspective.
We send our greetings and our thanksgiving to all the birds, from the littlest birds to the biggest birds, who provide food for us, who sing their beautiful songs.
A lot of the writing is very visual, and as such, because I believe in active learning as well, I wanted to make a presentation, a literary presentation that was not going to bore my audiences to death. And the work itself really let me know that it wanted to be spoken and danced and worked into performance as such. So this is how the performance, the spoken word performance art came into being.
We celebrate this fringe of forced displacement. Our uniqueness brought us here, where we dance to our own drum, speak in our own tongue, live by our own laws, because we have found each other in the fringe.
As usual, we've just had such wonderful student involvement in these projects where students learned how to do stomp dances, some of the women's stomp dances from the Iroquois tradition. And we're also part of coming to rehearsals. They got to go to workshops, talk to the different artists because they were available for people to be talking to. And the response has been very interesting because it continues to show me how important Native education is, because really very few people seem to know that we are alive and that honestly that we don't just wear feathers. Like, there's a lot to us. So I think this has been really a crucial week to the education of a lot of the students in this community and at Montgomery College. We also are doing things at University of Maryland and in DC, so it's been far-reaching in our greater Montgomery College community.
Well, there's an old saying, once you become aware, you can never become unaware. And so I think that I trust that what I've talked about and what I've shared with the students, that it'll make a difference in terms of understanding our people, the Aboriginal people, the First Nations people of this land, and the awareness that I've created through the words that I've spoken will always be with them. I really feel honored and privileged to share these words, the teachings of our ancestors, with the students.
Montgomery College has been so supportive of the World Arts Festival, and with the Arts Institute, our president is so supportive of Native American music, but also especially of really quality education. So to enable an event like this to happen is really momentous, and I think especially at this time in the world to bring more and more to the community. There are a lot of Native American scholars, so the scholarship is also more far-reaching than people realize, and a lot of this is to the vision of Montgomery College.
I do what I can to share my culture, and what I can honestly and organically teach is my perspective of the culture as a contemporary person today, understanding the value that the traditions play in the culture, the language plays in the culture, and songs and food and everything else that makes up culture. And I look at that and work it into the writing to help explain what that looks like as a living culture today. So that's the perspective I bring in the writing and also in the classroom.
Being part of the Taagi Three Sides Trio and this whole Native American residency is an important vision to me, but I also think for the whole country in healing from cultural trauma. And to me, working at Montgomery College and being able to have a project like this, working with these incredibly gifted people who really have a level of being that is very special in the world and in changing the world, which is part of what Montgomery College is about. And also being able to work at Montgomery College is all part of what in Mohawk we call Skanagunla, which is living the good mind. And that's something that Jan Longboat, who you saw earlier, really has taught me as one of my elders. Nyawa.